Hello, my name is Liza. Welcome to my 20th Century Toy Project. I'm going to be talking about the ViewMaster and what life was like when it was introduced. In 1935, Kodak invented Kodachrome film, starting the age of color photography. By 1939, color was everywhere. The Oscar-winning movie was Gone with the Wind, one of the first full-color movies ever made. The Oscar-winning song was Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz, which starts out black and white but ends up in beautiful color.
There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby.
More Americans than ever were driving far from their homes to see our spectacular country. As more people wanted keepsakes of their trips, the postcard business was starting to boom. In Portland, Oregon, a piano tuner and photographer named Wilhelm Gruber was hired to shoot pictures to be used for postcards. Later, he injured himself and had to spend a few days in the hospital. During that quiet time, he had an idea for the coolest postcard ever. 1939 was a hard year in the United States. The country was in the 10th year of the Great Depression. Franklin Delano Roosevelt had won re-election in 1936 in a landslide. He was a very popular leader, but people were still struggling to feed their families. For years, Americans had taken comfort in the national pastime of baseball. But in 1939, even baseball produced sadness as Yankee slugger Lou Gehrig announced his sudden retirement due to a mysterious nerve disorder now called Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS.
I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
In Europe, Hitler had just invaded Poland, starting what would become World War II. Not too far from Yankee Stadium, workers were building a new city, a new world. A few years earlier, New York City had been awarded the right to host the 1939 World Fair, and the planners had a big idea. Every World's Fair before 1939 had focused on all the interesting aspects of countries around the world. This World's Fair was going to focus on the future. They were going to introduce everyone to the world of tomorrow. They created posters and invitations and letters, even postcards, anything to get inventors thinking about the world of tomorrow and trying to convince them to bring their inventions to New York City. For sale inside of this world of tomorrow were 4 of the coolest postcards ever. Beautiful, full-color 3D images of the sights at the World's Fair. These cards were called reels. Each reel shown here costs 35 cents and contains 7 3D images. The special viewer for the reels costs $1.50. The viewer was called ViewMaster and was an instant hit. Interestingly, Mr. Gruber always hated the name. He thought it sounded too much like Toastmaster, a popular line of toasters at that time. Here is the prototype viewer used for test marketing in Oregon. Here is the original production model shown at the World of Tomorrow. The ViewMaster is a system with 2 parts. The viewer is a stereoscope, which means it's a scope that allows you to see 2 images at once. If the images are different views of the same object, your brain will put the separate images together to make a single 3D image. The second part of the system are the reels. These are discs that have 7 pairs of pictures, 14 pictures that make up 7 scenes. Early reels focused on a specific location like a city or a national park. Later reels would focus on education, including military training and science lessons for children. Finally, the ViewMaster found its place as a children's toy and even later as a marketing tool for other toys. The view has changed over time as well. There have been 14 different models of viewers, which were marked by a letter. Model A's packaging promoted third dimension pictures. Model B came in brown or black. Model C had an optional light. Model D was the first to load reels from the top. Model E was like D, but removed the aluminum handle for ivory. Model F had a push-down top bar which activated a built-in light source. Model G came in red, white, and blue for the bicentennial in 1976. Model H was made of much lighter plastic than previous models. There was no Model I. Model J was made in Belgium only. Model K was called the Space Viewer. A special silver version of Model K was produced and sold only in 1983 during the opening of Epcot Center at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Model L was back to the look of G and H models. Model M had a push button instead of a handle so kids could watch the reel turn. It didn't work very well. Model N had a rounder model. Someone even said it looked like a Darth Vader mask, but more kid-like. Model O has a flat, round reel holder on top. It only sold in gift sets with reel. Due to Mr. Gruber's insistence on specifications, every one of the more than 1 billion reels made in the last 73 years can be viewed on any one of the more than 1 million viewers made. Think about it. You could look at the original 1939 reels with a Big Bird viewer from the 1980s, or see the very latest reels through the first Model A viewer. The success of the ViewMaster led to the creation of related products. The ViewMaster camera for taking your own pictures that could be made into 3D reels. ViewMaster projectors for showing 3D home movies. Even a talking ViewMaster. Special reels included a recording right on the disc. The talking ViewMaster would read a short description of each scene. In recent years, the ViewMaster has been used by companies to market their products, by colleges to promote their star quarterback, and even by performance artists to create a familiar and effective 3D experience. I hope you enjoyed this look at the origin and history of the ViewMaster. See you in the world of tomorrow.